My name is Janet Ego, and at 29, I thought I understood what stability felt like. It looked like Sunday mornings in Evan's kitchen. The smell of burnt toast he always swore wasn't burnt. The soft hum of wedding plans we whispered about like a future we'd already stepped into. For 3 years, Evan Cole had been my steady place, warm, dependable, gentle, in the ways that mattered. At least that was the version of him I knew, until February. We got engaged last October. His mother cried. Mine sent me 1,000 heart emojis. We opened a joint wedding savings account. My idea, but he agreed immediately, smiling like he'd been waiting for me to ask. I made more money than he did, so I contributed more, and I didn't mind. Relationships aren't 50-50 all the time. Sometimes one partner carries more weight. I was prepared for that. But I wasn't prepared for betrayal wearing the mask of kindness. Every month, I deposited my portion into the account. Consistent, disciplined, responsible. Evan's contributions were softer. Some months he gave $50, some months nothing. He always had explanations. Car problems, paying his sister's vet bill, short week at work. I didn't press him. I thought love meant understanding. We were supposed to get married in April, just 2 months away. His father had already paid a hefty deposit on the venue. My parents were preparing the rehearsal dinner. All that was left was the honeymoon fund, which we were saving toward together. And then came the day everything cracked. The day I learned that trust can disappear with a single tap on a banking app. It was mid-February. I was at work on my lunch break, scrolling through travel packages for Greece. Evan always joked he wanted an ocean view room because we only do a honeymoon once. I logged into the wedding account, smiling to myself, and the number hit me in the chest like getting shoved underwater. 047. Not a typo, not a glitch, not a small withdrawal. 47 cents. I stared at the screen, refreshing it again and again and again, as if the universe might suddenly correct itself. But reality stayed exactly the same. My heart started pounding. My fingers went cold. I checked the transaction history, scrolling past months of careful deposits, and then I saw it. One withdrawal, 2 days ago, $9,000, transferred to an external account I didn't recognize. Memo, personal. My pulse turned into a roar in my ears. I called Evan, straight to voicemail, texted him, nothing, called again, still nothing. My coworker, Lena, caught sight of my face and whispered, "Are you okay? You look like you just saw a ghost." I wish it had been a ghost. Ghosts don't empty bank accounts. "I think someone drained our wedding fund," I said, barely hearing my own voice. Lena dropped her fork. Like, fraud? I don't know. But deep down, a thought I didn't want to own began gnawing at me. What if it wasn't a stranger? What if it was him? I left work early and drove home, rehearsing possibilities in my head. None of them as bad as the truth. Evan came home around 6 humming, swaying a little, mid-song. He froze when he saw me sitting on the couch, laptop open, banking page glowing on the screen. "Janet, you're home early," he said, casual, but his eyes flickered. A flash of panic. Subtle, but real. "We need to talk," I said. He swallowed. "About what?" "About the $9,000 missing from our account." His face drained, not pale, but hollow, like someone sucked the warmth out through his skin. He started talking fast, like the words were falling off a cliff. "I can explain." "Okay," I panicked. "But it was for a good reason. Harper's mom. She has cancer, stage 3, and they needed help. Chemo isn't covered, and I couldn't just let her die, Janet. What was I supposed to do?" I stared at him, because the lie was obvious before he even finished the sentence. Evan isn't a good liar. His eyes dart when he fabricates. His voice tightens, quivers slightly. His hands tremble. Right now, his whole body was trembling. "Evan," I said, "why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you talk to me before moving the money?" He crossed his arms, suddenly on the defensive. "Because you'd have said no." "Because it's our wedding fund," I reminded him gently but firmly. He snapped back too quickly. "It wasn't stealing. My name is on the account too, and I wasn't going to sit around doing nothing while someone's mother died." I breathed slowly, steady, controlled. "Fine," I said quietly. "Show me the documentation, the medical bills, the messages with Harper." His face tightened, his jaw locked. His silence answered every question I hadn't even asked yet. "There's no paperwork," he muttered. "It was a verbal thing, based on trust." That word hit me like a punch. Trust. How ironic. Something didn't fit. None of it fit. Evan hadn't looked stressed, worried, burdened, or distracted. Not once in the past few weeks. He'd been laughing, planning his wedding playlist, trying on suits. So why lie now? He turned angry then, defensive anger, coated in guilt. You don't get it, Janet. Not everything is about money. I was trying to help someone who needed me. Someone, not Harper, not her mother, someone else. A chill spread under my ribs. Evan kept ranting, but his voice faded out. The way a radio dims when you drive into a tunnel. Because something inside me had already shifted. A door opening, a warning whisper. This isn't the truth, and the truth is going to hurt. I didn't sleep that night. Evan passed out beside me without difficulty. How someone can lie that effortlessly and then rest like a child still baffles me. But I lay awake staring at the ceiling, hearing his earlier excuses on a loop. Cancer, chemo, Harper's mom, all wrapped in this frantic righteousness that didn't match anything I knew about him. And that whisper inside me, the one I had ignored for years, grew louder. Something is wrong. Something is missing. Something is being hidden. By morning, I made up my mind. If I was going to spend the rest of my life with this man, I deserved the truth, even if I had to dig it up myself. Evan left for work at 7:40 a.m., humming under his breath like nothing had happened. I watched from the window as his car pulled out of the lot. The second he disappeared, I opened his laptop. Not my proudest moment, but betrayal forces you into corners you never thought you'd stand in. His laptop wasn't password protected. Evan liked convenience over security. Lucky for me. Or unlucky, depending on how you look at the truth. I opened Facebook Messenger first, typing Harper into the search bar. Nothing. No recent messages, no conversations, not even a meme exchange. Nothing about a sick mother, not a single mention of chemo, bills, emergencies, nothing. My stomach tightened. I checked his texts. No Harper, no crisis, no late-night pleas for financial help. The entire cancer story had crumbled before it even began. I sat there, breathing through the swelling shock. So where did the money go? Scrolling through his inbox, I saw a name pinned to the top. Tyla Mercer, a name I hadn't heard in years. A name Evan had once mentioned in passing. His ex-girlfriend from college. The first love, the what if, the one he always insisted he'd gotten over. My hand went cold around the mouse. I clicked, and the truth opened like a trapdoor beneath me. 4 months of messages. Daily messages, morning texts, goodnight voice notes, inside jokes, photos, memes, confessions. Evan wasn't supporting a friend in crisis. He was pouring pieces of himself into another woman. Not just any woman, Tyla, his ex, his unresolved past, his emotional refuge. I scrolled, my breath catching on every line. I miss how easy things were with you. You're the only one who understands me. Janet is wonderful, but different. Different. There it was, the first knife. Then the second. 3 weeks ago, Tyla had written, I'm jealous. My friend just upgraded her whole gaming setup. I wish I could, but I'm so broke. A simple complaint, but Evan's response? Send me the link. Let me see what I can do. My heart stopped. Scrolling deeper, I found it. February 10th, 2 days before the money disappeared. Tyla sent him a detailed gaming PC build. Tower, monitors, accessories, desk, chair. $8,500 total. His response? You deserve good things, Tyla. I'll get it for you. Her reply? You always take care of me. My pulse slammed behind my ribs. He didn't give $9,000 to Harper or to a cancer patient. He gave it to Tyla, the woman who once broke his heart and now, apparently, was stitching herself back into his life with compliments and vulnerability. I kept reading. More heart emojis, more emotional intimacy, more excuses disguised as sympathy. Messages about how she felt lost and alone. Messages where he called her special. Messages that sounded nothing like friendly support. And then, the confirmation that shattered whatever hope I still clung to. Tyla, when do I get to see you again? I want you to come over and check out the setup once it's built. Evan, soon. Things are complicated right now. But we'll figure it out, I promise. Complicated. Because I existed. Because our wedding was 2 months away. Because I was the barrier between him and whatever fantasies he was resurrecting with his ex-girlfriend. My lungs burned. My eyes felt hot. The room felt suddenly too small. I scrolled to the Venmo screenshot Tyla had sent him. $9,000 received heart emojis and a message that read, I don't know what I did to deserve you. Evan replied, anything for you. Anything. Anything but honesty, apparently. Anything but loyalty. Anything but the future he had promised me. I sat back numb. There is a kind of heartbreak that doesn't feel like crying. It feels like frostbite. Cold. Silent. Shattering you one nerve at a time. I forwarded every message to myself, screenshotted every thread, captured every financial record. Not for revenge, for protection. Because the man I loved had officially become a stranger, and strangers with access to your bank account are dangerous. My mind shifted into survival mode. I called an attorney, my cousin's recommendation, someone who specialized in civil litigation. I sent him what I found. He called back within the hour. "Janet, this is fraud," he said plainly. "He lied about a medical emergency to stop you from intervening. You can sue him and her." My voice cracked only once when I asked, "What do I do now?" He said, "You gather everything, then you let me handle the rest." I hung up, staring out the window. Outside, the world kept moving. Kids played, cars passed, a dog barked somewhere down the street. Life didn't pause just because mine had fractured. When Evan came home that night, he kissed my cheek. My skin flinched. He didn't notice. He talked about work, dinner, weekend plans. I listened, nodded, smiled at the right times, all while knowing that I wasn't listening to my fiancé. I was listening to a man who had taken our future, wrapped it in a lie, and handed it to another woman. And tomorrow, I was going to confront him with the truth he never expected me to find. I didn't tell Evan when the lawsuit was filed. I didn't need to. The legal system would deliver the news for me. He found out on a Thursday evening. The door flew open so hard it rattled the picture frames. Evan barged in, breathless, eyes bloodshot, holding a stack of papers with trembling hands. "Janet, what the hell is this?" he shouted. "You're suing me?" I didn't move from the kitchen table. My coffee had gone cold, but my resolve hadn't. "Yes," I said. His jaw dropped. "You can't do this. We're engaged." I looked him dead in the eye. We were engaged. He flinched, as if the past tense physically struck him. "You're seriously doing this over a mistake?" His voice cracked into a pitch I'd never heard from him. "One mistake, Janet. One." "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary," I replied calmly. "You stole our wedding fund, lied about cancer, and gave everything to your ex. That's not one mistake. That's a pattern of choices." He threw the papers onto the counter like they were burning his hands. "She needed help," he snapped. "Tyla was depressed. She's alone. I was trying to be a good person. And I was supposed to fund your hero complex?" His eyes narrowed. "You don't understand compassion." "No," I said quietly. "I just refuse to let you use mine." He stared at me like a trapped animal. His chest rose and fell too quickly. "You'll regret this, Janet," he whispered. "You're ruining my life." "You ruined your own," I said. "This just exposes it." He opened his mouth but froze when I slid an envelope across the table. "What's this?" "Your eviction notice. You have 30 days to move out." His face drained. "This is my place too." "Your name isn't on the lease," I replied. "You lived here because I allowed it. Now I don't." He shook his head violently, like he could shake the truth out of the air. "You're heartless." "No," I whispered. "I just finally stopped letting you drain me." He stormed into the bedroom. I heard drawers slam, something crash, his breath sputtering in ragged anger. 30 minutes later, he stomped out with a duffel bag, shoving past me. "You'll regret this," he repeated, voice shaking. "I already regret ever trusting you," I said softly. The door slammed hard enough to shake the hallway. I exhaled for the first time in what felt like days. His family found out next. His father called me after dinner the next night. I stepped onto the balcony as cold wind curled around my ankles. "Janet," he said, exhausted and ashamed. "I'm calling to say I'm sorry." "You don't need to apologize for him," I told him. "I know," he sighed, "but I want to. We've canceled the venue, the flowers, everything. There will be no wedding." "I understand," I said. "I wish he'd been honest with you," he continued. "With us, with himself. You deserve better." The call ended with a heaviness that still felt kinder than anything Evan had given me in months. The legal process dragged forward like a parade of bruises. Depositions, email compilations, screenshots printed and cataloged, bank statements highlighted in bright yellow. Tyla's attorney tried to be clever. "The funds were a gift," her lawyer wrote in a formal response. Mitchell simply attached the message thread where she wrote, "Thank you for doing this for me. I know you said it isn't your money." Her lawyer didn't write back for 2 weeks. Evan tried everything. Late-night texts, half-apologies, manipulation disguised as self-pity, voicemails where he cried, then cursed, then begged, then blamed. He showed up at my building once, but security escorted him out before he reached the elevator. Every attempt only became more evidence for Mitchell. 4 months passed before the first real crack formed. Mitchell called me at 9:07 a.m. "Tyla wants to settle," he said. I waited, silent. "She'll return all equipment she still has, plus payments for what she already spent." "Good," I replied. "She's terrified of trial," he added. Her lawyer says she doesn't want the messages entered into public record. I didn't blame her. In those messages, she sounded like a woman fishing for sympathy with bait coated in manipulation. Evan held out longer, but when his lawyer withdrew, apparently Evan hadn't paid him either, he had no one left to hide behind. The day of the hearing, he arrived alone. I saw him as I took my seat in the courtroom. He looked smaller. His suit didn't fit right. His hands trembled as he clutched a stack of papers that couldn't save him. He didn't look at me. He didn't look at anyone. Just stared at the floor like it might open and swallow him. The judge read through the case file slowly, carefully. "Mr. Cole," he finally said, "did you fabricate a medical emergency to justify moving funds from a shared account without Ms. Ego's consent?" Evan's voice was barely audible. "Yes." "And did you transfer these funds to Ms. Mercer for personal use?" Yes." The judge nodded once, firm and final. "Judgment for Ms. Ego. Mr. Cole is ordered to repay the full amount plus court costs and interest within 90 days. Failure to do so will result in wage garnishment." Evan sagged into his chair, face crumpling. I didn't feel satisfaction, not joy, not vindication. Just closure, the kind that feels like stitching up a wound still tender to the touch. Outside the courthouse, sunlight hit the pavement in blinding white streaks. The world kept moving, cars honking, shoes clicking on concrete, people laughing in clusters. I inhaled deeply. For the first time in months, the air didn't hurt going into my lungs. I felt new, not healed, but rebuilding. Piece by piece. Evan didn't disappear after the hearing. I knew he wouldn't. Not someone like him. People who lie that easily cling even harder once the truth exposes them. It started with apologetic texts, then long paragraphs about how he never meant to hurt me, then voice notes filled with shaky breathing and half sobs. I ignored everything. Then came the grand finale. He showed up outside my building one Saturday morning, sitting on the curb like a stray dog who'd lost its home. I saw him through the lobby's glass wall while retrieving my mail. He stood when I stepped outside. "Janet," he whispered, eyes red. "Please, I need to talk to you." I crossed my arms. "Say whatever you came to say." He wrung his hands like he was trying to squeeze words out. "I lost everything. My dad says I can't come home. My mom won't even look at me." His voice cracked. "Tyla blocked me. She won't return my calls. She's telling everyone I used her." A humorless laugh escaped me. Imagine that. He swallowed hard. "I know I messed up, okay? But I loved you. I still do. I just needed someone to talk to. Someone who understood me. It wasn't cheating. It wasn't like that." "You gave her our wedding fund," I said quietly. "And you lied about a dying woman. That's exactly what it was." His voice rose, desperate. "You're punishing me. You're acting like I committed a crime." "You did," I said. "A literal crime. A judge confirmed that last week." He shook his head violently, like the truth made him dizzy. "Just give me a chance to fix it. Please, I'll pay you back. I'll cut her off. I'll do anything." "Give me the engagement ring back," I said calmly. His hand flew to his chest. "No, it's mine. You gave it to me." "It was contingent on us getting married," I reminded him. "Which we're not. Give it back." His jaw clenched. "No." I sighed. "Then this conversation is over." He backed up a step, then lifted the chain around his neck. The ring dangled from it. He stared at me with something unhinged in his eyes. "You want it?" he whispered. "Fine." And then he put the ring in his mouth. Before I could shout, he tried to swallow it. It didn't go down. He choked, hands flying to his throat, gagging, stumbling backward, eyes bulging. For 1 second, I just stared. Then instinct took over. I grabbed him, turned him around, and thrust upward under his ribs. Once, twice. Nothing. His face purpled. Third thrust. The ring shot out like a bullet, clattering against the pavement. Evan collapsed to his knees, coughing so violently he nearly puked. I stepped away. He wheezed, grabbing at the concrete. You tried to kill me." "No," I said coldly. "I saved your life. Again. Unfortunately." He crawled toward the ring, reaching out. Another hand swooped in and snatched it first. My neighbor, Kevin, who had wandered outside mid-chaos, held the ring above his head like a referee declaring victory. "Got it!" Kevin yelled. Evan dropped his forehead to the pavement and let out a guttural scream. People were staring from balconies. A dog barked. A baby cried. The entire scene looked like a tragic comedy unfolding in slow motion. I walked to Kevin, took the ring from his hand, wiped it clean on my shirt, and pocketed it. Evan finally staggered to his feet, tears streaking down his face. "You're horrible," he rasped. "You're enjoying this." "I'm enjoying the truth," I said. "And the truth is, you don't get to manipulate me anymore." "You ruined my life," he whispered. I exhaled, soft but firm. No, Evan, you ruined your own life. I just refuse to drown with you. He stared at me, defeated but hateful, then turned and stumbled down the street. I didn't watch him go long. I didn't need to. Some people walk out of your life so loudly, you never have to worry about hearing from them again. With the lawsuit behind me and Evan gone, the apartment felt like a space I had never fully lived in before, as if I had always been waiting for the other shoe to drop. And now the floor was finally still. I started rebuilding myself. I slept in. I started running again at sunrise. I stopped checking my phone every 10 minutes for damage control. For the first time in ages, silence didn't scare me. 6 months later, at a friend's birthday dinner, I met Daniel Reyes. He wasn't charming. He wasn't showy. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was just kind. He held doors without making it a performance. Listened when I spoke, laughed easily. Looked at me like I was a person, not a project or a placeholder. I wasn't looking for anything. But sometimes healing doesn't ask for permission. It arrives quietly and sits beside you until you're brave enough to look its way. Daniel and I started talking, then texting, then accidentally spending every free evening together. He never pushed, never overstepped, never acted insecure when I hesitated. After a month, he finally asked, "Are you ready to date again?" I considered lying, but I had promised myself I'd stop living behind softened truths. "Yes," I said, and out loud it felt real. We became something, gentle, steady, slow, the opposite of everything I survived. Little did I know Evan hadn't disappeared. Not completely. His name returned one morning in the form of a message notification on Daniel's phone, one sent from a burner account, full of old pictures and half-truths designed to poison us. But I wasn't the woman he used to manipulate. Not anymore. Evan didn't reappear in person. He reappeared digitally, like a stain that kept bleeding through paint. Daniel and I were eating breakfast on a quiet Sunday morning, sunlight spilling across the kitchen counter, when his phone buzzed twice, then a third time. Daniel frowned, picked it up, and his eyebrows furrowed. "Do you know someone named Evan Cole?" he asked slowly. My heart dropped. "Why?" He turned the screen toward me. A long message from a username I didn't recognize, but the words, they were unmistakably Evan's. It began politely enough. "Hey man, you don't know me, but you should know the truth about the woman you're dating." Then it devolved into a spiral of desperation. She and I are still together. She cheated on me. She stole from me. Ask her to show you her real messages and you'll see. Attached were photos from 2 years ago. Selfies, engagement pictures, smiling snapshots from holidays long before he dismantled everything. Daniel scrolled in silence. My stomach turned. "Daniel, I can explain all of that." "I figured you could," he said calmly. "Tell me." 20 minutes later, everything lay on the table between us. Screenshots, court documents, the judgment, the restraining order, the whole crumbling timeline that had once been my life. Daniel didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. He didn't pull away. When I finished, he took my hand. "Janet," he said softly, "that wasn't cheating. That was you escaping someone who wasn't safe for you." Relief washed over me so suddenly my vision blurred. "I'm sorry he dragged you into this," I whispered. "I'm not scared of him," Daniel replied, "but I don't want him harassing you, or me, or my family." "Then it's time," I said quietly. "I need to file for another restraining order." His thumb brushed my knuckles. "I'll go with you." 3 days later, we stood before a judge again. Different courtroom, different year, different man by my side. Evan, of course, didn't show, but his messages did. The judge granted the order immediately. "Any further contact," she said firmly, "and he will be arrested." For the first time since the engagement broke, I felt a wall go up between Evan and my life. A real one, a legal one, a boundary he couldn't charm or cry his way through. Daniel squeezed my hand as we walked out. "You okay?" he asked. "I think," I said slowly. "I'm finally getting there." But Evan wasn't done. A month later, Daniel's mother received a message on Facebook from a new account. "Your son is dating a liar." Attached were more of our old photos. Daniel's mom screenshotted it and texted him, confused and concerned. Daniel sighed, showed it to me, then replied to his mother, "She's wonderful. This is an ex who can't let go. Please block him." She did. The order held. The silence returned. This time it stayed. The seasons changed. Daniel moved into my place after 14 months. At my pace, not his. We got a bigger apartment with 2 bathrooms because, as he joked, it's the real secret to relationship longevity. I laughed then. I believed it too. Life didn't feel fragile anymore. It felt like breath, like warmth, like something I had rebuilt with my own hands, but wasn't carrying alone. We took it slow. We healed at our own speeds. We treated each other gently, with deliberate honesty. And the strangest thing? There were no red flags, no gut-clenching dread, no sudden defensiveness. Just honesty, just peace. 2 years after Evan's last message, Daniel and I visited the same coffee shop where we unknowingly started our story. He seemed nervous, fidgety. "Are you okay?" I asked. His smile was small and crooked. "I will be." He reached into his coat pocket. My heart stopped. He lowered himself to one knee right beside our old table. People gasped. The barista clapped. Someone took a picture. But all I saw was this man, steady, patient, kind, looking up at me with hope instead of expectation. "Janet Ego," he said softly, "I don't want to replace your past. I just want to build your future. Will you marry me?" My yes came out in a breath, a laugh, a tear, and something deeper I didn't know how to name. We kissed. The room spun. The world felt safe. A small wedding. Only close friends and family. Paid in full before any deposit deadlines. No joint accounts until after the ceremony, at my request, which Daniel respected without question. Everything felt right. Everything felt clean. A few months later, while finalizing guest lists, I bumped into an old mutual friend of Evan's at the grocery store. A guy who used to know both of us. We made small talk. He congratulated me on the engagement. Then he hesitated. I guess you haven't heard," he murmured. "Heard what?" "Evan moved, new city, new job, new people, but he still tells everyone you ruined his life." I froze for only a second. Then I smiled. A small, sad, understanding smile, not for him, but for myself, for the person I used to be. "No," I said gently. "He ruined his own life. I just stopped living in the wreckage." The friend nodded slowly, almost relieved. "I figured you'd say something like that." We parted ways. I walked to my car feeling lighter than I ever had before. Not because Evan was gone, but because his story was no longer my burden. His choices were no longer my shadow. His voice was no longer in my head. My life had become mine again, and I was finally free to fill it with something better than survival. Someone better than sorrow. Someone like Daniel. Someone like myself. The past was still there, but it no longer defined the air I breathed. And as I drove home, window cracked, wind brushing my hair, I finally realized, healing doesn't feel like triumph, it feels like peace.